Right here.
It's everywhere. Everywhere I look up. Tax Hollywood Unlocked. And it's everywhere.
Bro, I was on the shade room. I was on the shade room like a few minutes ago. So yes,
You know what they say? You say you gotta put like 10-20% of the budget into marketing. So
oh yeah.
you reach. You know what? I made a 1. I don't know if I told Jacqueline this, but I made a $1.5 million mistake not doing paid advertising.
For real? Why do you say that?
So I have this e-commerce brand, right? So Melanin Money. I got it on right now.
Yeah.
And so I launched the brand in 2018. And I didn't do any paid advertising, just organic, just try to push it out in front of the right people. And then like in the last year, I got like serious about like just running ads for paid for my e-com brand. And the number one bestseller was a product that I had when I launched the brand, and my brand increased 2,300% the next month after running ads. So I went back and did the math of what I lost by not running the ads, and I lost $1.5 million.
Yeah, it's real. You know, it's crazy. I went to Grant Cardone had a 10x growth conference, a virtual one, like in November. Yeah. And I've been listening to Grant or whatever, but I don't know why it resonated with me so much. But he's like, if they don't know you, they can't flow you. And like ever since then, bro, he said if they don't know you, they can't flow you. And I was just like, yo, I'm going in. I'm going all in on ads.
Grant is the reason why I started spending more money on advertising.
That's fact.
He was like, spend it all on marketing, spend it all on marketing, spend it all on marketing. And then me and Jacqueline got some projects coming up this year, and like we just like I'm looking at PR, like we looking at everything. So it's just like you gotta spend the money on marketing.
Wait, let me get in on my marketing little combo. Like I'm joining Capital-Wise, so like my marketing is kind of a little bit on hold right now because I need somewhere to put all the clients, right?
Right.
So there's my.
We're excited. It's gonna be a fun year. All right, cool, man. So I already told Jacqueline that from a tax planning perspective, Capital-Wise is going to be consistently referring you clients this year. So we'll kind of just start off as what you typically do, answering the typical questions, who you are, what you're all about, tax game, and then we'll just kind of close out with that piece. So let everybody know, and that's how we gonna rock it. So
cool. I'm gonna switch over to the HCR real quick. How do I sound?
Say it again.
Far away.
Yeah, you sound a little bit further than you did before.
Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, just so I'm not the only one with the headphones. You guys, but cool. I sound good?
You sound good now, yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm ready.
So we do what we call a big money energy segment on the show. Trying to make sure we're consistent with that. So we have 3 options. I'm going to let y'all vote. We've got the Jay-Z and Roc Nation cannabis company in California. We've got Netflix doubles its Black workforce in inclusion and diversity. Or we have, I feel like everybody knows about the HBCU grad that like was the youngest franchisee in Chick-fil-A history. She's Black.
It wouldn't hurt to reiterate it.
Yeah, so 3 options: Jay-Z, Netflix, or Chick-fil-A.
I feel like Netflix we can use later because it's kind of timeless. It's not going to be stale. If my pick would be 1 or 3, I'll say 1. I'll say Jay. I'm a big hope.
Yeah, me too. But what did he do?
So he's partnering with Roc Nation to bring that cannabis company. It's bringing like some of California West Coast and some of East Coast.
Okay, dope.
So
you just want me, with this segment, you just want me, do I chime in or you guys talk amongst yourself? How does that usually go?
I'm just going to tee it. I usually just tee it up and then Jacqueline gives what it is. And then we just organically, whatever we feel about it, we can just say something about it. Like, oh, that's dope. Shout out to Jay-Z. So nothing crazy. Just, she's bringing it up just because she's going to interject at some point with that, and just so you know like what it is.
Dope. Okay.
It'll be kind of early on, but you got the list of
questions. Setup too, man. Are those your books on the second show, the lower show?
Yeah. So that's all the books, Prolific Profit, there. So I usually just like I literally was just mailing them out today. So like I just keep it right there, grab a few, go ahead and print out the labels. So yeah,
Do you give them to your clients?
I do sometimes, depending on the client.
So is your target audience the people who want to learn for the book? Is your client the target audience for that, or is it just someone who wants to educate themselves on tax planning?
It's more people who want to educate themselves on tax planning. It's pretty comprehensive. It's like all accounting, business, taxes. Like taxes is really just like 3 or 4 sections of the book. So it's like I go through everything.
Okay, cool, dope.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's kick it off.
Let's get
5, 4, 3, 2. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Uncensored podcast with George and Jacqueline. And today, we got a special guest. We got the tax planning guru himself. I'm sure you've seen him on your timeline or the Shade Room or Hollywood Unlocked or somewhere because he's popping up everywhere. I was just talking about that offline before we hopped on. But with no further ado, Michel, how you doing, man?
Thank you. It's a pleasure being on here. I'm definitely honored to be part of it, but I'm good.
Awesome.
Good, Mitch. We're so excited to have you. You know, me and you go way back, like 3 years way back.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we did that first panel together. So Mitch and I sat on a panel. What were we talking about? I think we were just talking about overall financial health.
Yeah, we're talking about financial wellness and literacy with our boy Andre. And yeah, I was really impressed by you because you were just going in on like the financial and tips as far as like how to invest your money, putting away your money, and all the financial literacy stuff that's important. So yeah, and ever since then, yeah, we just kind of stayed in touch. You've been growing a lot. I've been growing a lot. So it's so dope to kind of see, you know, where we're at today and, you know, how it just keeps going. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, the feeling is mutual. Otherwise, we wouldn't have kept in touch. But so tell us, who is Mitch? Let the people know who you are, what you're all about.
Yeah. So my name is Michel Valbrun. I'm a certified public accountant, tax strategist, award-winning author of the book Prolific Profit: How Successful Businesses Maximize Profits and Dominate the Market, actually inspired by the late and great Nipsey Hussle. And you know, to sum up what I do, I pretty much help, you know, entrepreneurs, business owners, investors save $10,000 to $100,000 in taxes legally and ethically using proactive tax strategies and tips. I also go by Money Making Mitch. So if you have a problem saying Michel, you know, I also go by Money Making Mitch as well. And, you know, I just talk all things money. So if you want to learn more about money, especially from a tax perspective, you know, that's what I'm about.
You know, Paid in Full is one of my all-time favorite movies.
Oh yeah, right here.
Making Mitch. Now I love it, man. So where does your passion for tax planning come from, right? Like, so, you know, because a lot of people don't like taxes, they don't like the IRS, they don't like accounting. Like a lot of times they get a bad rep, like accountants are boring, but you're rapping and on stage. So you're obviously not an accountant, right? So like, how did you get this passion for tax planning and all things accounting?
You know, it's interesting, kind of evolved over like several periods and several years. So, you know, when my parents actually, they came from Haiti and they came to the United States to give, you know, my family, my sisters, you know, a better opportunity here in the United States, and actually owned a tax practice in Miami. So I was kind of exposed to the tax world. My mom was always doing tax prep. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I always knew because of that, I always knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. So as I was going to school, and when I was in undergrad, I had a professor that said that, you know, accounting is the language of business. And if you want to be an entrepreneur, you gotta understand accounting. So I was like, all right, bet, let me get into accounting, understand it, kind of learn it. And, you know, as I was going through the accounting program, you know, I was learning some good information. And, you know, I was trying to figure out, okay, where do I want to be as far as this accounting thing? Because there's so many ways you can go. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that, you know, just like that all CPAs don't necessarily do the same thing. And an experience that I had, you know, while I was studying to become a CPA was I volunteered for this organization called VITA. And it's pretty much this organization and this nonprofit where you could do tax prep for lower income individuals. So I think if you make less than 50,000 or whatever the case was that year, you can go ahead and get your taxes done for free. So, you know, I'm working and I'm going through this program, and I'm working with a couple. And once I get through their tax return, they ask me, is like, well, you know, it's cool, you know, I appreciate you doing the tax prep, but like, how can we save money on taxes? Mm-hmm. And I froze. Like, I did not know what to say. It was really awkward. And even though it was free, you know, I felt, you know, I kind of felt like a fraud. You know, honestly, I had some like it was really embarrassing because here I am, I'm going to helping these people with their taxes, and I'm going to like, the top accounting university in the country as it relates to accounting, and I still don't know how to save and help people save money on taxes proactively. So, since that experience, I've been like really diving in, investing in myself, like literally spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, working with like the top tax experts in the world, attorneys, and just really studying and really soaking up the game, and just really wanted to, make sure that I was the best that I can be as it relates to helping people proactively save money on taxes.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, man. That's a perfect probably segue into the extension of what you said you're going to elaborate on. So, one of the things I think that the financial services industry as a whole does not do the greatest job about is letting the public know exactly who does what, right? So on our side of the house, like, Jacqueline has the gold standard certified financial planner, right? But like, there's so many different things. There's, insurance agents who people think are financial advisors. There's, all these other designations. And then, but when you go think about the medical field, it's like, a heart surgeon is a heart surgeon. You know what he does, right? Or he or she does. You know what a neurosurgeon does. Like, so exactly what they do and what their expertise are. But in the not personal finance, but the financial services industry is not as clear. So even on your side of the house, right, you have, accountants and tax preparers, and like, so just break down for us, like, what are the differences, right? Because I know I've heard you break it down before. I think it would be good for our listeners to understand. So when they're seeking out guidance, they understand who they need to be looking for their needs.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, to your point, it goes even deeper in the accounting world. And I like to say, like Meek Mill, I'm a huge hip hop fan, so I'm probably going to use a lot of hip hop quotes during this segment. But, Meek Mill said there's levels to this, you know what I mean? So as it relates to accounting, as it relates to taxes, I'm going to kind of keep the conversation focused around tax planning. But I also like to use a lot of acronyms too, because when I was studying for the CPA and just going through the accounting program, there's a ton of things we had to memorize. So the acronym for this is tax elite. All right. So the elite stands for the different kind of individuals that you need to work with. Well, actually, taking a step back. So as it relates to accounting and taxes, we have tax preparers. All right. So tax preparers are going to be those individuals that go ahead and do your taxes. Maybe they work at an H&R Block, Jackson Hewitt, maybe their mom and pop shop. My parents were tax preparers. Basically, all they do is they go ahead and do your taxes for you. You don't necessarily need to get a degree or anything in order to do that. All you really need is a P10, which is just a prepared tax identification number from the Iras. And literally tomorrow, guys, if you wanted to go on Instagram and say, yo, I'm preparing taxes, you know what I mean? There's nothing stopping you all from being out here claiming that you're a tax preparer, right? Because there's no rules or regulations around that. And then above that, we have what are called enrolled agents. And an enrolled agent is an individual who went through a 3-part exam with the IRS. They're very proficient as it relates to taxes. They understand the tax law very well. And I work with EAs. EAs are great, very technically proficient as it relates to taxes. And then to be an EA, you don't necessarily need a degree to get that either. So to be an EA, it's a 3-part exam. You go through it. You could probably be an EA within a year or two. So that's the EAs. And then on top of that, you have CPAs. So CPAs, in order to be a CPA, you need 150 credit hours, so which is the equivalent of a bachelor's and a master's. You would have to work under a CPA for a year. You have to pass a 4-part exam, which less than 50% of people pass. And there's just a lot that goes into becoming a CPA. And the reason why I had the CPA higher is because of that level of effort. Like, you can't just wake up tomorrow and say you're a CPA. Like, there's a whole, the quickest you could probably do is like in 5 years, maybe 4 years if you're really pushing it. But like, there's a whole process, and they have a very comprehensive view on accounting and business, right? So they may not have extremely deep tax knowledge, and I'm going to get into why that's important, but they do have a general overall view of accounting. They understand accounting, and it's good for you as a business owner, because you don't want someone just that understands the tax returns, but also just has a broader view and a bigger picture of accounting. And then even that's not enough, right? Because as someone who's a CPA himself, I'm a CPA, and I could tell you that in order for me to be able to acquire the knowledge that I had to go through a lot of training, a lot of education. So I have what I call the tax elite. So this is kind of what you need to look at when you're looking to hire someone to help you with tax planning, possibly even doing tax prep if you have a very complex business situation. that tax elite is the first part of that is E. So we talked about education, making sure that you work with someone that went to school for it. Not saying that college is everything. Honestly, I think college is probably going to be over and done with by the time our children get in there. But you want to make sure you work with someone, I personally believe, that has went to school, that actually cares, instead of someone who's trying to have a side hustle and trying to make some quick money during tax season. The next part of that is legal representation. So you want to work with someone that can provide legal representation in the event that you get audited. So a CPA, an EA, a tax attorney, those individuals could represent you in front of the IRS if in the event that you get audited. The third part of that is the I. So it's a two-part I. So it's intangible, well, not intangible. It is integrity. So you want to make sure that you're working with someone that can help you save money on taxes legally and ethically. You know, I think that's extremely important because there's just so much out there as it relates to taxes, and there's no reason to cut corners and do anything illegal in order to save money on taxes. There's over 70,000 pages in the tax code. I would say like 70% of it, if not more, is actually talking about how you can save money on taxes. Like there's a small section that says, this is everything that's related to income. These are all the other ways that you don't have to pay on this income. So that is the I. And the other part of that I is an investment. So making sure that you're working with someone that's going to provide an ROI for you. When someone's doing tax prep for you, it's not really an ROI. It's compliance work. You pay for it. It's a cost. It doesn't do much for you. But with tax planning, that is providing an immediate ROI. So whatever the investment it is on that tax plan, if someone could save you 10, 20, 30, $50,000, which is what I do for my clients every day, all day, and then that's an immediate ROI for you and your business. And that really makes a difference because it's not how much you earn, it's what you keep. The T is going to be training. So is someone constantly training and getting educated on the tax field. So as a CPA, I'm required to have continuing professional education credits. I'm sure you all are as well with your respective fields. And the last part of that is E, so experience. So how much experience does an individual have? When I say experience, I mean like years in the industry, the type of clients, the potentially even like the volume of revenue, whatever the case is. So those are the kind of things that you want to consider. I know that was like a super long-winded answer, but that's kind of how I see things.
No, that's helpful. Thank you for breaking that down for sure.
Of course. Yeah.
Well, let's dive into the big money energy moment.
Awesome. You didn't sound like you had too much energy though. I need some.
Yeah, I was about to jump in and say big money energy. Let's go.
Give us some B and me.
Well, George, you're supposed to cue that up. So
you're right. All right. Okay. Pass the blame. All right, it's now time for our big money energy moment of the day. Jacqueline, what you got for us?
George, cue it up. Come on. All right. Let the people know what's the big money energy moment. It's where we take a moment to highlight what's going on in the world for the culture, something that has to do with money, right? So this is a perfect topic for having Mitch on because Mitch just said he's going to have a lot of references to the hip hop industry. So today we're actually going to highlight the fact that Jay-Z and Roc Nation just launched the largest cannabis company in California. None of us are located in California or in a state where cannabis is legal. But how do you guys feel about that?
I mean, shout out Hov, man. Like Hov just continues to make moves. He's a chess player when it comes to business. Like, dude's a beast, man. Yeah, I mean, just shout out Hov. I mean, I'm always in awe of the moves he makes when it comes to business. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, no, that's huge. I mean, I know using a Hov quote, he said, "We're going to reach your Billy first." He hit that Billy, surpassed the Billy, and he's not stopping. He just keeps going. He's in the cannabis industry now. So it's just going to keep going. We know there's a lot of growth opportunity there. From a tax perspective, I would say I know the Iras is actually looking to start doing more audits around people in the cannabis industry, but I'm sure he has his team and everyone around him making sure that he's good. Another Hov quote, he said, "Who deserves the medal of freedom is my accountant." Iras should have had the townhouses surrounded. So I know he's tight. I know his accounting stuff is tight work.
Yeah, I remember that bar. What song was that again?
Drug Dealers Anonymous. Push your T. Yeah.
So.
Well, I'm from California, so I'm used to the cannabis conversation. My family actually has a vape shop over there now, so they're very much involved in that. So, you know, we highlight Jay and Beyonce on here all the time. Like they're just doing great things. Like they're just leading the charge for us. So it's exciting to highlight what they're doing. So let's circle back to what you're doing, Mitch. And as we know, Biden just came in. He's our new president. And anytime we get a new president, we're looking at, you know, potential tax changes. So how do you feel about what is coming with the Biden administration?
Yeah, there's a lot of things coming down with the new president, President Biden. So, you know, he's looking to make some big changes as it relates to taxes. He wants to increase tax revenue between 2 to 4 trillion over the next 10 years. And really his main focus on doing that is increasing the taxes as much as he can on individuals making more than 400,000. So with that, he is cracking down and increasing some of the federal tax rates. He's eliminating some of the different tax benefits that are out there for real estate investors and some business owners. He's increasing the corporate tax rate. He's doing a ton of things as it relates to taxes. And, you know, they're also saying that they're going to use some of that money, obviously, to help lower income individuals. There's also some great incentives too. So they're bringing back some of the housing incentives. They're looking to increase some retirement benefits as well. So you all know, like when you make a contribution to retirement, you get that whatever you contribute, that is going to be based on the deduction, or the savings is going to be based on your marginal tax rate. He's just looking to do that like a flat 20%. So that could be beneficial for individuals who are under that 20% tax bracket. So, you know, it's good. It's going to bring up a lot of change. I think, you know, personally, for selfish reasons, it's going to be good for me, because a whole bunch of people are going to be panicking, trying to get some tax planning done. And, you know, really, I don't think there's anything to be worried about. Even if you make more than 400,000, it's just being proactive, being aware of what's coming down the line, and then working with a professional to, you know, figure out how to legally and ethically, you know, minimize your tax liability.
Yeah. So what he's really saying is don't go get Pookie in them to try to go with your taxes.
Right.
I know they, you know, they saw something on Instagram and they think they're ready, but that's not what you want. That's not
right. Exactly. No, he's really trying to tighten up on that. So yeah. And I mean, it makes sense too. I mean, I even knew this was going to happen because all the stimulus money that they're pumping out, you know, it's not coming from air, you know, and well, it kind of is, but then they're gonna have to get that back somehow. So like the deficit is ridiculous. I don't even think anyone, they're not even looking at it. They're just, you know, printing out the money. They did another round. So, you know,
no regard for monetary policy, just
yeah.
QE. Yeah. Cool, man. So, you know, for couples getting married, you know, what are their options when it comes to filing taxes, right? Do you recommend that they need to file jointly, or, you know, how do you typically advise people who are married, right? Like, because I know there's a different dynamics there. I'm just curious, like, what your thought process is.
Yeah, generally speaking, it usually makes sense for married couples to file jointly. The reason why that is the government actually prefers you to do that because probably, honestly, it's probably just because it's simpler for them to manage and it's less paperwork for them. And then they also allow you to have more tax credits as well. So if you happen to file separately or head of household, you lose some of those tax benefits that you get when you file jointly. So I would say more cases than not, it makes sense to file jointly. If you want to do separately, there's rare cases where that makes sense. One potential situation is, let's say a spouse or your significant other had huge or significant medical expenses, and with medical expenses you can only deduct up to a certain amount as part of your adjusted gross income. So with that, if you did it separately, that one spouse who had the significant medical expenses could be able to take advantage of some more tax savings in that way. And then also to have seen people do it to where maybe another spouse or significant other owes a lot of money on back taxes, so they try to file jointly, but there is an option to do what's called the injured spouse or innocent spouse, and that can allow or not have your spouse be responsible for the whatever past tax liabilities that you have.
Dope. No, thank you for that insight.
Yeah, of course.
Do you know anything about statute of limitations when it comes to the IRS getting their money back?
Yeah, so typically with the statute of limitations, if you do something illegal, then they can go back forever, right? So that's number one on that. And then really, yeah, they're looking at, as far as you being able to go back and do a return, they're really looking at, 3 years on that where you can do that. They can, if they wanted to, go back 5 years, but typically they're staying within that 3 year range. But I think once you pass that 5 year and you did everything legally and ethically, didn't do anything shady, then you can kind of feel a little bit more relaxed. But I do recommend people keep their tax documents even longer than that. But I would say, I would say a reasonable range is that 5 year mark.
Yeah. So obviously Jacqueline and I are financial advisors, right? And so people come to us primarily for investment strategies and retirement and financial independence, or as Jacqueline likes to put it, work optimally, and planning for those things. So when it comes to tax planning, right, are there any like go-to recommendations that you have that involve like retirement and investing as a way to offset tax liability?
Yeah, absolutely. So a couple of things with that. So one, as it relates to taxes, we talked about this a little bit. So the tax code it incentivizes people to become business owners and investors. So, putting money away into a retirement account is a form of investing. So actually retirement saving is actually a significant tax benefit. So, as an individual, even as a self-employed individual, you could contribute into a traditional 401k. You can contribute up to $19,500 as a single filer. That pretty much comes as a tax deduction for you. And, you would only be taxed on that once you retire. So that's one significant benefit of contributing to a retirement account. There's another one out there called a self-directed IRA. So the IRA is an individual retirement account. You can go ahead and set that up with your financial advisor. You can contribute up to, I believe, $6,000 if you're under the age of 50. If you're over the age of 50, you can do $7,000. With the self-directed IRA, one of the great things about it is you actually have more flexibility as to how you want to use that money. So sometimes I have clients who are into stock options and they don't want to realize those gains immediately. So they use the self-directed IRA to invest in the stock with stock options and not have to pay the taxes on those gains that they get. So yeah, retirement planning, and there's like a whole bunch. I mean, you have SEP IRAs and a whole bunch of other things that you could do as far as relates to retirement.
Yeah. So if you guys, need to open up one of those accounts, I know a pretty decent financial planning firm that you guys can holler at to make that happen. I'll put a call in to get you.
Do we have sound effects? Drop a money bag on that.
I got to turn off my mic because my mic was acting crazy. So
y'all need to get that soundboard like boom.
Yeah. I actually have it. It's just my mic with this audio was acting weird and I didn't have time to fix it, so I turned it off.
Okay, well, one of the things that you post, Mitch, is your 10 tax commandments. I don't want to make you run through all of them, but tell us about like your favorite one or two. Yeah.
Just to give you guys some perspective, if you haven't seen it, I did a rendition of Biggie's 10 Crack Commandments. I'm a again big hip hop fan and a fan of 10 the Biggie, well, just Biggie in general. So I decided to flip that and call it 10 Tax Commandments and kind of flip some of his words as it relates to taxes. And yeah, it's been getting a lot of positive feedback. It was a lot of fun to write it. I'm thinking about doing a full out music video for it. I did a lyric video for it. So we'll see more to come, and then potentially a book. So that's an exclusive. I'm probably going to come out with a book with it pretty soon. So that's coming down. But yeah, as far as those 10, for selfish purposes, I'll say number 5, always rely on your CPA guy. It would be one of them. But I think the one that I'm most proud of is number 7, where I say, keep your business and your personal completely separated. Business and blood don't mix like politics with no tricks. Find your business serious risk. Just because I had to
stop a flex bomb on them.
Hey, boom.
Hey, that's dope. That's one of my favorites of them, honestly, because I feel like that's the biggest thing when I'm talking to entrepreneurs as clients.
Yeah.
You got to keep your personal and your business separate.
Yeah, I mean, I come across clients all the time and they're making like well over 6 figures all in their personal. I'm just like, Lord Jesus. So
You don't want that smoke.
Yeah, it's yeah, you pretty much, one, it's complicated from an accounting perspective. Then you're opening yourself up for liability. So if someone comes to your company, there's no separation between you and the business, so they can come and sue you and take all your personal assets. Yeah. So no, it's big. And then also too, I was just like, I was trying to keep it. I wanted the rap to be accessible, so I tried to keep it clean, so that there was a lot of profanity in the original version of that bar, and I had to come up with some creative ways to still make it sound good and make it work and make sense. So yeah, pretty much all those 10 are all facts. I mean, I spent a lot of time thinking and making sure that those made sense. So yeah.
Got you. So I want to circle back real quick on the investing piece, because I had a question that came to mind, and I'm curious because a lot of the clients that Jacqueline and I work with and we'll be working with in 2021, they're young. Like, we're in this new era now, entrepreneurship, and people get into this bag, and like retirement, right? This concept of retirement is just, it's a little dated, right? In the traditional sense, right? It's more about that, like I said, that financial independence. And so my question is, to someone who, believes they're going to be financially independent in their, 30s, maybe early 40s or something like that, how would you recommend that they take advantage of some of the tax benefits that you can do when it comes to retirement, but still setting themselves up in a way where they'll still be able to leverage this capital so it's not tied up until age 59 and a half, right? Because they're going to be financially independent long before then. Now, naturally, they're still going to need access to capital and resources during those years, but just giving more flexibility while still being able to take advantage of some of the tax benefits, that retirement accounts and things present.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say from that perspective, they'll probably need to consider a Roth then. So looking at doing like an after-tax contribution to a retirement account, that gives you some more flexibility as to how you can use that money, how you can use those funds. So again, the Roth would be good. Going back to that self-directed, you could do a Roth IRA. And then again, because you have more flexibility, you could actually use that as a vehicle to invest in real estate. So build up your real estate portfolio, and then being able to take advantage of some of the appreciation from the property, but then also still be able to collect that cash flow as well. So that's a unique way, or well, not necessarily unique, but that's a way that they can look into, especially if they're on that FIRE movement. They want to, be super frugal and then, retire early, which is, great to be able to do. So I think as far as if we're talking about retirement, that could be a good, because with the Roth, you do save money on it's the growth is tax free. So that does save you on taxes.
Yeah, I like you bringing up the point of the self-directed IRA. I feel like we don't talk about those a lot. One of the reasons why we don't talk about those a lot is just because they can easily be disbarred. So it's easy to mess up, in a sense, your self-directed IRA. So the self-directed IRAs come with a lot of caveats. For example, I had a client. So I say this because, going back to your point, Mitch, about you like following the guidelines, like the IRS is not who you want knocking at your door.
Right.
It's important to follow the rules. So I had a client who had a self-directed IRA, ran real estate through it, and felt like they could blur the guidelines as far as your stay, what's deductible, how much you use it, and, ended up being caught. The self-directed IRA becomes completely taxable if you get caught doing something illegal in there. So, back to your point of following the rules, it's just important to know what you're jumping into with that self-directed IRA.
Yeah, I think knowing stuff up front is going to be key. And then, making sure that you run things by, your money team, really. And that money team is going to be your financial advisor. It's going to be your CPA. It's going to be your accountant, lawyer. So those people, like, you want to make sure you run that stuff by, because you think about it, it is a pretty big benefit to be able to, invest, not have to pay taxes on it immediately. So with that, they're going to want you to follow and make sure you do things a certain way in order for you to do that. So yeah.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, that brought back something that somebody was pressing us. We did a live one time, Mitch and I, and somebody was pressing us, was like, wait, so basically if I get prosecuted by the IRS, like, Mitch, you're not responsible, like, you filed my taxes. And same goes with financial advising. Like, we work with the information that you give us. So your tax return should reflect what you gave your CPA. You know, just like my financial plan that I provide to you reflects the information that you gave me. So it was just funny that I, had that random flashback of like, it's important that we get accurate information. But if we don't get accurate information, it's not necessarily our fault that, things don't play out like you expect them to.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's just like the doctor, just not to go too far deep into that subject, but yeah, going to the doctor. You go to the doctor, you say you got issues with your body, and then you're leaving out the fact that, you have past medical issues, or, you might have another issue going on. Like, you're just leaving things out. So they're only going to use the information that's presented in front of them, your weight, your blood pressure, what you're telling them verbally. And they're like, okay, well, because you said this is this is the prescription.
Right, exactly. Right. No, for sure. So, granted, you're tax elite, right? And all the tips and tricks and the strategies. You're also an entrepreneur, and so in our show we speak heavily to personal finance, but also entrepreneurship is a catalyst, as we know, to building wealth. So my question for you is, what are some of the lessons learned, biggest lessons learned, and mistakes and trials that you learned on your journey of entrepreneurship so far? And I say so far because I know we all have even more challenges and hiccups that we'll make as we continue to grow.
Yeah, I would say if for personally speaking, and we kind of talked about this offline before we got into it, but like really making sure that you're marketing and promoting your business. I would say, especially in our community, I feel like we don't do the best job, or we don't feel the need to spend and invest money in our business. And it could be from a place of scarcity or just not knowing, but like really as it relates to business, you do want to make sure that your business is known. And with me, I really took it upon myself to say, like, listen, I have this knowledge, I have this information, I have a duty literally to make sure that everyone knows about this, knows who I am. As you mentioned, I post on a lot of big pages, right? And I look at the comments sometimes, and I'm seeing the comments and people still are not getting it. So there's just this huge gap of people and not really understanding what's allowable, that the people who, and it's not just the rich either, it's there's a saying out there that says, tax code is broken up into two systems, one for the rich, one for the poor. I believe the way it's broken down is for the enlightened and the ignorant. So if you know what to do with the taxes, then you can save money on that. So that's one thing, is not really focusing on marketing enough. I would say probably another piece of that too is just really making sure that you start delegating more too. So I think a lot of times when we first get into it, we want to do everything ourselves. We're not really open to trusting other people to work with us or partner with us. But I think, delegating things out, kind of staying within your wheelhouse of expertise, passing on work to other people, all that kind of stuff, I think it plays a crucial role in being successful with your business.
Nah, for sure. Yeah, when you talk about offline, I was telling them, like, for one of my other businesses, I waited almost 2 years to start doing paid advertising, and it was a hefty financial mistake. I'll probably talk about it in detail in another episode, but like, it was a hefty financial mistake. So if you believe in yourself, if you believe that your product, if you using another hip hop analogy, or just, like, if you believe the product is good, what I'm saying? Like, you need to just tell everybody, right? You need to get in front of as many people as possible. If you believe you have that good, that blue magic, you know what I mean?
Right.
You got to get in front of everybody. And I think that might be like a subconscious block for people. It's like, you say you want to eat, you say you want to like go to the next level, but it's like your actions aren't aligning with that, right? So if that's the case, why wouldn't you get in front of enough people, right? So I think that's a lesson a mistake that I'll never make again. But yeah, it's definitely a mistake I made as well, not shouting from the mountaintops about what I have to offer. So
thanks. Yeah, everybody eats, B. Everybody eats. Everybody, what you mean you're not eating?
Better write that. Double up.
For me, it was somebody said, when I first got into financial planning, was like, hey, you can be the best financial planner in the world, but if nobody knows that you're the best financial planner in the world, it's going to be really hard for you to build a book of business and have clients. And with that, I hopped on social media a few years ago. So I was not on social media. So hello world.
I was gonna say, yeah, a quote that really resonated with me was it's not the best who wins, it's the best known. Period. Yeah. Like that's facts. And fortunately, I could say, I have the combination of both, but I'm going really hard at making sure like I'm the best known, because that's what it comes down to. Like I've been doing this for many years, I feel like kind of underground, helping people have all these big wins, not talking about the athletes or celebrities I've worked with, and just kind of keeping it to myself. And then I'm kind of at the point where I'm just like, all right, you guys are about to know about this.
Hey, right. Humble brag.
You know what I'm saying?
Humble brag.
Humble brag, yeah.
Yeah, because it's like, I heard this other quote. It was like a hit song isn't made, it's marketing. You know what I'm saying? Like a hit song is marketing. And so it's like,
wow.
It's what'd you say? Yeah. Yeah. And so you just got to know the game. Like, and it's not even like a jealousy or envy thing, but like we've all seen people in our industry, and it's like, again, not a hate thing, but it's like I'm low key better than them. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But it don't matter. It don't matter because they have the audacity to put themselves out there while you are resting on your laurels, hoping someone clicks the link in your. For the record, click the link in your bio is not a marketing strategy. Click the link in my bio is not now you can do it as a supplement, but it is not a marketing strategy. If you're wondering why people are not beating down your door just because the link is in your bio, it's because it's not a marketing strategy.
Right.
All right.
I'm really laughing because you guys may not know, like George and I weren't as collaborative at first. Like there's a beginning of our relationship that didn't count with us doing a podcast and things together. So like when we both had this like silent understanding of like, okay, this is another person in my field. It might be kind of dope. Like, like he might be on my level. So I haven't mentioned it lately, and Mitch, you don't know because this is a new thing with George and I, but we've been going back and forth for who the coolest advisor is. So George is in the lead right now with that really dope video that he put out for Pocket Advisor. So if you haven't seen it, go to Instagram, watch it. So he's in the lead right now. I am going to be completely fair, completely honest. When I'm in the lead, I expect George to grace.
Hey, if that happens, I'll gladly oblige.
If it happens,
I'll gladly oblige. But
and listen,
all right,
I love it. Well, I was gonna make a comment too. Yeah, I love it. I've been getting more collaborative, developing relationships. I'm sure I think he's a mutual friend of ours, but Cofield, shout out to Cofield Carter. Yeah. We communicate, we talk, we build. Like he literally texted me this morning showing me like what he got going on. And at the end of the day, it's an abundant world, it's an abundant universe, 7 billion people out here. Everyone has their different lane, everyone has their different personality. Yeah, we may know, certain things that are the same, but at the end of the day, people are going to work with, whoever they feel more connected to, whatever the case is, or like I said, the best known. So, you know what I mean? Like one of the two. So yes, collaboration is key.
Yeah, well, you're doing a good job of being well known. So for people who are interested in working with you and they're like, hey, I saw this guy, he's cool, he knows what he's talking about, I'm ready to sign up for him. What is that process like from them saying, hey, here's my information, I'm ready to go? Like, what does that whole process look like?
Yeah, so right now at the time of this recording, and it could evolve, it could change, but right now, if you want to go ahead and book a consult with me, right now I'm doing paid consults. As you can imagine, with the growth and everything, I can't do any free calls. And my wife, I'm married too, so my wife has been kind of getting on me about taking calls and all that kind of stuff. So it's like, you got to pay, but really whatever you end up paying, that's going to be towards the whatever services that we decide to work on, whether that's tax planning. I also provide outsourced CFO services, whatever the case is, whatever we decide to do, that'll be contributed. You can go ahead and go to valbrungroup.com. So that's VALBRUN group.com. So you can go ahead and click on there. That's going to have all the information that you need. You should find something in there that'll allow you to book time on my calendar. And yeah, and we'll take it from there.
Dope. And also, as of this recording, we have formed a partnership and collaboration. So all of our entrepreneur clients, or clients in general who need tax planning, he will be our go-to tax planner. So guys, I know you just heard all of his strategies, or some of them. Just
hey, that needs a flex bomb. Where's it at?
It's a flex bomb.
Flex
We're gonna do a post-production. We're gonna do a post-production. Joy is a post-production. Don't drop a flex bomb. Angie, you hear that? We need a flex bomb. But yeah, so Mitch is gonna be I would say you got your little workout in today. Yeah. Okay? And so yeah, Mitch is gonna be working with our clients. And so if you're already thinking about working with Capital Wise and you're on the fence, maybe this will push you over to know that we have a dedicated resource from a tax planning perspective. And so, yeah, so super excited about that. And, this is the Uncensored podcast. And so, the question that we always like to ask when we end the show is, what does living life uncensored mean to you? Or you can just say, like, what is one uncensored, kind of gem that you want to leave with the audience, whatever tickles your fancy.
Yeah, I'll leave another rap quote. This is gonna be from YF and Lucci for the song "Heartless." But it was a dope intro. But he says, my mom taught me the difference between notoriety and fame. Fame is when people know your name. Notoriety is when people know your work. When it's all said and done, I want to be known for the work that I've done in the world. The people that I've helped. Right now, there's a lot of talk with tax planning and taxes, but, long term, I'm looking to build on that and really just help people have a financial transformation, however that looks like. So yeah, all about notoriety that leaves a legacy. So that's what I'm about, y'all. Leave a legacy, do good work. Appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Dope. Well, Mitch, we appreciate you for coming on. It was a fun time. I mean, I think honestly, Jacqueline, I don't want other guests to feel bad, but since we've been doing podcasts together, I feel like that's probably one of the more organic and fun episodes that we've done with the guests.
Yes, I secretly snuck that in there. Like that's what I've been going for because you and I are getting more acquainted as interviewers. Mm-hmm. So Mitch, did you have a good time?
Oh, I had a great time. I mean, it's almost like catching up with friends. I know I've been communicating with y'all for a while now. So yeah, it's just, what I'm saying? It's all love. It's good. It's fun. So yeah, it's just catching up.
Yeah, because I love that. Kofi actually texted me this morning too. I'm the one that got him into the digital world. I was been pressing him because he had this goal of building his firm. And I was like, bro, you owe me. Like you owe me 5%. He wasn't even thinking about it. But anybody that I know that cares about time freedom, I'm like, you getting into this digital world because again, we love working with clients and it's great. But the thing I always say is like at the end of the day, as advisors, as experts, whatever you want to call yourself, we have to lead the lives of the people we're trying to help serve as well, right? We can't just be, I think David Shan said it best, like serve and don't be a servant. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, we got to live and we have to be free as well. And so I'm just an advocate of packaging that knowledge up and being able to serve people. So kudos to you. You got the book. I know you got courses, I think, coming this year as well.
Yeah.
So one thing I will say, it's the top of the year. And he kind of slid it in there, but I know the language because I know what it looks like for me. As of this recording, this is how you can get in touch. There might be a continued buffer, right? Whether it's somebody from his team or the price going up to where it might not, make sense. So like y'all, if this podcast was valuable, if you need tax planning, you need an expert to kick the year off right, tap in as soon as you can because, the price might go up or you might not have the opportunity. Don't loaf. So thanks again, man, for hopping on.
We got one more plug too. I forgot. I completely see my mind. I do have a course. So Tax Wealth 101. Tax Wealth 101 is kind of my go-to course. It's an introductory course, and it's really an advanced course, honestly, because the amount of game and information I give you in that program is phenomenal. But basically, I help you save, digitally, how to save $10,000 to $100,000 in taxes. We break down legal entities, creating generational wealth with taxes. So just a whole bunch of game. Very affordable. And going back to that point of, with the digital courses, I love it because it's broadening my impact. Like there's people that I'm working with literally changing their lives. I don't even know their names, but because of the content, because of the information that they're getting from the course, I just look up, I see the reviews coming through. I'm just like, wow, I'd even talk to this person and they're getting some good information. So definitely tap into that. It's great information and you guys are going to love it.
Game changer. Awesome. Well, I love it, man. And also, you heard it first. We're gonna have him do a drop-in class, Pocket Advisor as well. So I'm gonna get him on the schedule. But man, we appreciate you, man. Looking forward to the multi-layered collaboration this year. More abundance, more blessings, and everything in between. Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Peace.